tamer when they come to America and other countries.
Argento took time out from his proposed supernatural trilogy to team up with George Romero, the American director of the classic Night of the Living Dead. The result, a gore-fest like no other, Dawn of the Dead.
In France, it was the censor council for 6 years consecutive. Every year I present the preacher, and every year the censor says not. You must present every year. If you was forbidden for this year, you must to wait another year. And the year after, I shot a little more, and I present. This is good. No, okay. For 6 years, it was incredible. I was think it was a nightmare for me. I think this picture I never released in France. At the end, it changed government, because this happens every government change. You know, arrives more government, more liberal, and then it was finally Dawn of the Dead was released in France. I was in Paris for the premiere. I was so proud. Like me was the director. So proud, finally, after 6 tentatives. Wow.
In 1980, Argento returned to his proposed trilogy about witches with Inferno. The film contains some of the most frightening imagery in the Argento canon.
Many things in Inferno people don't understand, but this is the secret language, you know? The secret language, I tried to experiment the secret language also in the movie. The alchemic secret language. You know, the people, the alchemists, speak, but in a language you don't understand, because you must don't understand.
The book! What?
There are mysterious parts in that book, but the only true mystery is that our very lives are governed by dead people.
It's as if I were constantly being watched, and at times I think I actually feel a presence, as if someone were in the room with me.
Who lives in this damned house?
Someone who is waiting.
But who?
You are being watched.
Though Dario Argento's films had always been daring in their portrayal of sheer gruesome mayhem, neither the repelled audiences nor his adoring fans had seen anything yet. 1982 saw the release of Tenebrae. The title refers to a novel being written by the film's lead character and to the darkness in man's soul. Murders commence when writer Anthony Franciosa travels to Rome to promote his novel. Victims are slashed to ribbons and pages of the book are crammed into their mouths. While the killers in Tenebrae were busy carving victims, the U.S. distributor was busy butchering the film itself. And instead of pages from a book, an emasculated version of Argento's original film was shoved down viewers' throats.
Tenebrae, it never got much of an exposure here in the U.S., and when it did get a video release, it was heavily edited.
He deals with the unconscious and the dream world in a very horrifying way, and I mean, he does things that just amaze me. I really love his work.
I've read that he enjoys being the hands that close about the victim's neck, and he enjoys wielding the knife or the blade that causes the death of these people. I find that very interesting, as if he's not so much disturbed in my way of thinking anyway, but just having fun on the set by being his own, by being the villain in his own movies.
For his next film, Argento spent an arduous 2 months auditioning actresses to play the lead. He finally settled on Jennifer Connelly as the heroine of Phenomena, released in the United States as Creepers.
Here he develops a group of school children on a bus out in the middle of nowhere, and the school child gets left behind, and the isolation she feels, and you feel that isolation because of the way he's developed this scene, by the way he shot this scene. And we spy a house, and the house is not anything, it's not innocuous, it's just a regular house there. There's nothing menacing about it. It's not Castle Dracula. But we know, as horror fans, that if this girl goes to this house, something might horribly happen to her, and it does. And we are not prepared, actually, for what exactly does happen to her, nor do we see exactly what it is that is doing it to her. And that allows for the development of Argento's, what is this thing that lives in this house? And he's great at doing that sort of thing, I think.
Again, the American version of the film was so heavily edited that it became difficult to make sense of the story.
I think that's one of his greatest movies. It stars Donald Pleasance, and it's as gory and out there as his other ones, but it has things like insects solving crimes and a chimpanzee saving the day at the end of the movie. I mean, that's brilliant stuff. Nobody's ever done that before. It's totally crazy.
When they shoot with the monkey for Creepers, we are in the lake, close to forest. One night, we shoot it just every night. And one night, the monkey disappeared in this forest. We found her after a week, because in the forest it was so happy.
Phenomena is extraordinarily disturbing movie. I mean, for me to get disturbed is something, but boy, oh boy, there's some images in that just make me want to go, I don't know about this.
Argento has also been known to get behind the careers of up-and-coming filmmakers whose talents he admires. He did so with Lamberto Bava, the son of the great stylist Mario Bava, who had given Argento his own start in the business.
I'm very interested in the work of the other picture, the other directors. I like to be on the side of director, because one things I do very well are to protect the director and and possible he have the idea, the original idea, and to help him to express, the idea original and pure.
In 1986, Argento produced Lamberto Bava's Demons, which starred another Argento apprentice, Michel Soavet.
You can see the heavy hand of Dario Argento in all of these films. He really imparted his vision onto these people who wanted to follow in his footsteps.
In 1988, Dario Argento proceeded to make the word opera synonymous with visceral horror in the minds of his many fans. Released uncut in the United States as Terror at the Opera, the film boasts some of the most relentlessly suspenseful sequences of Argento's career, as well as a grim backstage atmosphere and some dizzying camera work which, even on the small screen, may induce vertigo in viewers.
You are invited to enjoy an evening of terror.
Was it? Was there?
Terror at the Opera.
If you try to close your eyes, you'll tear them apart. So you'll just have to watch everything.
She is the captive audience. They are the unrehearsed players. Evil is the true star. And no matter how hard you try, you won't be able to close your eyes. Director Dario Argento brings fear.
Don't leave me alone. I'm afraid.
Passion. Obsession.
I can take you whenever and wherever I want.
And murder to a perfect pitch. Terror at the Opera.
And what he'll do is he'll come down in the mornings and he'll talk to his screenwriter and he'll describe his dreams. The screenwriter will write down the dream. And this will go on for a month or two until they have a series of dreams which are then hooked together in a story. And the story he tells basically is you have a character who hears or sees the secret. And for some reason it's not complete and it doesn't register. And later in the film it returns and you hear the secret or you see what it really is and it put it all together. It's a very haunting view.
Argento's devotion to Edgar Allan Poe found expression again when he teamed up once more with George Romero to create Two Evil Eyes. The film is comprised of two segments based on a couple of Poe's most well-known tales, The Facts in the Case of M. Valdemar and The Black Cat. Romero directed the Valdemar segment, while Argento filmed The Black Cat.
Most of Dario Argento's movies are radical, they're loud, and they're confusing, but they're so well made that they're all worth seeing more than once. And if you see a confusing Dario Argento movie more than once, it'll make perfect sense. There is logic to his madness.
You don't know what the ultimate outcome in an Argento film is going to be. I dare say you can't predict it from film to film. There is no consistency there. And it's that consistency of inconsistency that throws audiences off balance, and which I think his fans appreciate.
If horror films are a way of exploring the subconscious, Argento's is really moving through that landscape of dreams.
I think in the picture we must to be different, like in marriage, because in the marriage you must to be faithful. In the picture you must to be unfaithful, because I think you must to love many pictures.
Dario Argento's fascination with Edgar Allan Poe is not only expressed in his films. He is also the author of a comprehensive introduction to an Italian edition of the works of Poe. But it's the medium of film where Argento expresses that fascination most fully. And after a quarter of a century of creating cinematic nightmares, he's still at work, still conjuring up more manic visions and groundbreaking shocks to startle and amuse us.
Ce programme s'adresse à un public de tous âges, mais déconseillé aux jeunes enfants.